Welcome. What we're going to do today is learn how to enter your Agriscience Fair project into the AET. The first obvious step is to go to the AET. Once we're here, we'll log in. You should know your login. So we're going to enter as Joe Example. And password, log in. Once logged in, you should be on a page that looks just like this. We have to create a new project. So on this page, you can see where it says Project Experience Manager. We'll click there, and we're going to add new. When I add new, let's just name it for whatever the project is. Let's just say we did a research project on water and pepper plants. Okay. And it's research experimental is the project type. The level is individual. Primary experience category, you have to choose. So obviously this one would be probably plant. So if yours was, could have been an animal substance one, or maybe you did one have to do with deer or something along with natural resources or soil, that could be natural resources. I'll click plant. And then I'm going to go right here for now. These can be changed later. If you decide it doesn't fit your needs, you can come back and change that. So we're there. We'll hit save. Now we're back at this page again here. We're going to do a few things to start with. We're going to start by looking at the planning page. Okay, so on this planning page, that's the pencil. It has an X by it, which means it's not complete. So we'll click on that. And then it gives some prompts for filling in each of the tabs. So you don't have to fill in every little thing here, but what do you think is important, and just put it in outline form or in paragraph, whatever you feel like is best. So it says this is your research proposal summary. So this is what we would have put in before we started, but we have an idea. So here it is. Outline, research, pepper plants, and the optimal watering amounts, something like that. And the purpose, I wanted to know how much to water my plants for best growth, okay, and so on. So steps involved, that would be a good one. Procedures or steps involved. Steps include, and then you can kind of list steps. If you have something on safety, like if you did something that was in the shop or something like that, you might want to list that. Otherwise, you should probably be okay there. Safety. Okay, so you can kind of click it there. You'll obviously have way more than I have here. When you're done, click out of the box, it'll save. Then the time invested, maybe put some dates. So this project will start in January of 2020 and will be complete by March 1st of 2020. And then if you have some other things to say, maybe how long, maybe the pepper plants will grow in the greenhouse for 6 weeks. Anything else that might be timed on there. Maybe you had food plots out for animals, or you're feeding animals a certain amount, so how long will that take? That's kind of your time on that. So give a timeline as much as you can. Financial investment, if you have any funding, if you have items you're going to purchase, funding will come from myself or my parents. Major expenses will be plants and pots, or maybe you purchase material to cook something with, or whatever it might be, livestock feed. And then if there's some other items that are non-current, so equipment, so maybe there's some testing equipment, maybe that'll be provided by the ag classroom. That's possible. So maybe you have some other things. Just put anything in there that you think might be important. And then the last tab here is learning objectives. So we're going to try to pick some areas here that you would have for skills. So we'll hit add, and then we'll have to kind of pick one here. So you're like, oh, these look familiar. If you're working backwards on it, you ever done Agriscience Fair Report, and you have these things saved on your Agriscience Fair Report, we can use the same ones, okay? And so we'll hit another tab, and we can open the AET again, and we can open up the report on it if you have one. If you're not to this point, that's fine. But under reports on the right and degree application manager, you can open up your Agriscience Fair report if you've already done it. And the skill development form down the left side is where we're at. So, oh, look, I was going to water plants, determine the different amounts, so I know how much is too much, too little, and it was Plant Science 1, 1. And so you have 5 here. We should use these same 5 again if you filled them all out. I can go back. That was Plant Science 1, 1. And then I would pick at least 3, but if you have 5 already done in the other, use all 5. Save and back to SE plan. And then, so what do I plan on doing? I plan on testing watering amounts of pepper plants over 6 weeks. Something real brief here. What did you plan on doing? I know maybe you've already done it, but that's fine. So when you're done there and you've put in your 5, you're going to hit save and return all. Okay, so we're done with those. That's great. Okay, you can do this step next, or you can do this next step at the end. It's this clipboard over here to the right. You can look at that. Okay, so there's nothing on it yet, I guess, until we entered some other things. So let's look at this one on the side. Skills, competency, knowledge. There we go. So when your project's all done, you can put in some actual results, okay? Or you can put in this information from this other one if you had some data in that you would like to put, okay? Maybe you put in, half a cup per day was the best amount. I don't know, whatever you might have. It just depends on where you're at on those. Save that, you should be good. All right, so that should be basically everything on the project manager until you have some data entered on the journals, and then the clipboard annual review will come up. Otherwise, we should be okay. So let's enter some things on the journal. The journal here is where we're going to enter our time that we entered into the project. So it's under Journal tab, obviously, then Time and AET Projects or Experiences. So we click that one. Now we'll pick a date, and if we're going back in time, so I was working on this January and February, I'm going to put right here a date. Maybe I can kind of lump some things together. I don't need to enter every day I actually worked on it, but maybe by month or by week, kind of where I was at. So my project here is water and pepper plants, so whatever yours was. And I'm going to talk about how I did my initial research. So some things you might journal would be like how much time you put in writing your paper, to do things like complete your lit review or developing the materials and methods lists. When we're done with that, we might put in how much time we took to set up or prepare the research, like planting the plants, cooking the food, whatever it might be. and then your daily management of the project if there was something that was ongoing, daily watering, those kinds of things of plants, feeding of livestock. And then the actual final conducting of the project if you had to do a final test, measure out plants, distribute food to be tasted, those things. And then could be also completing your data or results and conclusion in the paper be another entry. And then preparing your presentation board would be the final one, I would think. So here it would be like writing lit review and materials and methods. So that's kind of where we're going to, that's the first thing you probably did. So maybe I thought I spent about 4 hours doing that. I'm going to have to pick a skill area. So I click on the skill area. Some of these writing ones are going to be under what's called cluster skills. So I'll click the cluster skill. I mean, there's a lot of good things in here. So I would probably say this is a good one here, 1-1. You kind of look at some other things. But that's probably the best one there. So a lot of these will fall under cluster skills. Save and back. And I can hit save and enter another if I'm ready for another one. Then maybe I was actually planting my plants. So maybe I would enter that, hit your project. It took me 2 hours to get it all done. Planting peppers. So I'll add my skill area. That's probably plant systems. So I would prepare management, growing media, kind of wherever you're at on those, okay? Demonstrate plant propagation methods. I'm doing all those things. Save and back. So I have those done. Then as I went, maybe during the entire time, I picked the end of the month there. And I figured I spent 15 minutes a day or 10 minutes a day, or whatever it was. And in the end, I had 6 hours. Maybe I had 5 hours. You'll work it out. Watering and care of plants. Okay, so the whole time I did that, I'm just going to include all those. My skill area is going to be plants, and then it would be wherever you want to go. Management of plant production. Okay. Your skill areas will vary depending on whatever your project was. Okay, then when I was all done, I would probably have something to do with completing the data. You know, completed research, tested plant weights, etc. Okay, so I'm going to do those things. Probably you could do a harvest one, but you can also do like there was one in here using equipment. Okay, maybe I had appropriate protective equipment, or I demonstrated some tools that way. Right, so we have all sorts of options in here. Back to my journal. Then maybe the last one would be, let's go right here. Completed the report and created presentation board. However long you think that took you. Maybe you separate those out, that's fine. And the skill area there might be, well, that's probably not, let's go cluster skills again. And there's got to be one on examining things or presenting something out to the world, I'm sure we can find. Career ready practices, I think it's probably under there. So communicating right here, perfect. Okay, I produced written and visual communications for formal and informal settings. Those are all super things. That was under career ready practices. Whatever you might have, that's all fine. So save that. That should be your journal entries. If you had some financial expenses on this project, you'd want to enter that under this finances tab. So on the finances tab, and it's going to be this SAE cash entries. For now, just enter it that way. Even if maybe your parents purchased items for you, we're still going to enter it here. We're going to call it a cash expense. And then under here, we'll pick our experience, where you got it from. Maybe you got it at some seeds from Shamrock Nursery and seed. If you can't find anything here, it's just going to be other. And maybe you spent $10 on it. Those are seeds. Okay, so whatever you might have had, save that. Make sure the date's right. Let's back up here. Okay. So you enter as many as those you need. Once you have those things done, that's pretty much most of it. If you go to either journal or finance, it doesn't matter. You'll end up with this where it says Project Experience Manager again. You click on there. Now we can enter over here a description. Okay. I researched, pepper plants to find out the right amount of water. Okay, write more than that because you'd want some outcomes. I found out, maybe, can't write that, Okay, so complete that. If you have some pictures, and I know you do, we're going to enter them here under files or photos. Since use the pictures you used from your board, put in some pictures here. So when you click on there, we'll choose file. We can upload a picture and hit upload. Now you have a picture in here. That's perfect. Okay. When that's all said and done, we should be good. You should have your journal entries, your financial entries, if you have any, files with some pictures in it, how many hours you put into it. The clipboard should have a check mark on it. The pencil should have a check mark on it. This little head should have a check mark on it. Then you're done. Take your time, do your best. I'm sure you can figure it all out. Good luck.